Hello everyone, my name is Siobhan. Today I'm gonna go over the functional behavior assessment and functional analyze. And I'm currently a student in special education class from 683 and from Ball State University. Who am I? I'm a service coordinator from a regional center for early start program. So any kiddos who has developmental delay for 25% or more in any areas, they will be eligible for special education service for after age 3. However, before age 3, they will be eligible for early start program if they would like. And then I will help them to coordinate service, for example, like EI, ST, OT, PT, etc. If a kiddo have an early diagnosis, I will help them to coordinate intensive service. And usually kiddos under 3 years old, they don't do FBA assessment. And my experience working for behavior assessment is my internship hours for this class, which is conducting the ABC data, and also during the session, I'll observe any problem behavior and then go over that with my supervisor, which is the BCBA, during the weekly supervision. And we will decide if we would like to include that new behavior in the treatment goal. So what is FBA? FBA is a process of investigating and antecedent contingency and target problem behavior with the goal and identifying the contingency of the behavior, develop and hypothesis of the behavior functions, and also enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of a behavior intervention. And also, according to Henley, 2012, he categorized the difference between the strategy for the conducting FBA as indirect assessment, review records, interview, survey using the questionnaires, descriptive assessment involving the direct observation in a naturalistic setting, for example, like daycare or classroom, and also a functional analyze and requires a direct observation in the experimentally controlled condition. So just to eliminate the what other potential variable to affect the behaviors. Also, the result of the FBA is lead to identifying the function-based and behavioral treatment the strategy to reduce the problem behavior. For example, like Carr and Dunrond in 1985 showed that teaching in reinforcing the function communication response for helping effectively decrease the escape reinforced problem behavior. A function-based treatment consistent produce a greater reduction in problem behavior than a non-function-based treatment. And in response to the effectiveness of this model care, the individual with the Disability Education Act was amended in 1997, including a function on assessment requirement of students who display challenging behaviors. A functional behavior assessment actually included lots of methods that allow researchers and practitioners to identify the problem behavior and what is causing the problem behavior. There's many behavior analyzers only use FBA, however, they can lead to limitation for this kind of assessment because it might be lack of training and also supervision. And what is considered problem behavior? Problem behavior is someone's challenging behavior is interfering their own learning or others, and if the behavior is harmful to themselves or other people, and then that will be the time to conduct a functional behavior assessment. A functional behavior assessment should be done, and a behavior intervention plan should be developed for the behavior. Additionally, if the person's behavior intervention plan is being implemented correctly, but the behaviors has not improved, it might be time for additional FBA assessment and or revise the FBA. For the education law, currently only the special education law requires the use of FBA. However, if the child does not have a diagnosis with disability and does not have an IEP place, the teacher does not need to conduct the FBA. Under the Individual with Disability Education Improvement Act, school staff must complete FBA under several conditions. The first one is during each IEP meetings, the team must determine if the child has behavior that is impeded his or her own learning. If the team determine if the child has behavior challenges, then the team must consider to use positive behavior to support the child, and usually the first step of the positive behavior support is to complete the FBA. And then the school will decide if the child's placement needs to be changed because of the challenging behavior. Then the team need to conduct the FBA and then develop the appropriate behavior intervention plan. If the behavior result in emergency changes in placement, the school must complete the FBA within 10 days. Then each child is being considered special education service. The team must complete the initial and full education evaluation. If the child engages in challenging behaviors, then the team should complete the FBA as a component of the initial evaluation. The special education law from birth to age 3. The child with disability under age of 3 will have different kind of education requirement. But a federal policy that does not specifically mention the use of FBA for the infants and toddlers. However, the team should address all the areas of needs for the infant and toddlers with disability and their families. If the child's behavior is a problem and their behavior is not improving, then the FBA will be needed. For example, for my 683 internship class, my clients are the age group from birth to age 3, and they are the one need to conduct an FBA to address their problem behavior, and usually they already have one early diagnosis. And my agency does use both FBA and FA. What is the difference between functional analysis and functional behavior assessment? The functional analysis is one of the methods from the functional behavior assessment. Functional behavior assessment has lots of methods to practice with. The first one is the direct observation. The second one is information method. The third one is functional analysis. For the direct observation, the observer will watch the client to engage in activity in their natural environment, and when the challenging behavior occurs, the observer will record what happened just before that and what happened after that, and also take notes on what they perceive the potential cause of the behavior. This method is used to develop a hypothesis about function of the behavior. The term used for this method is included direct observation, descriptive functional behavior assessment, and direct observation. And the behavior involves interviews and questionnaires. For the information method, it can be completed by the client themselves, their parents, and staff members and teachers. The interview should be used for identify what is happened before the behavior occurs and what happened after the behavior, just like the direct observation. This method also used to develop a hypothesis of the functional of the behavior. For the functional of the behavior, the term for this method include an indirect method, indirect functional behavior assessment, and information method. So for functional analysis, the term used for the third method is the only where there is a consensus among these all three. And this method is called functional analysis and involves the practitioner deliberately changing what happened before or after the behavior in effort to test what might cause the behavior. Unlike one of the other two methods, that just to create a hypothesis. This method actually used to test a hypothesis and the only method that truly predict what behavior will occur. So as you see on the right is the intake assessment my agency is currently using for FB assessment. And we also include two type of assessment in this intake report, which is the VP-MAP and also the DAISYs. This assessment takes about 2 hours for observation and parents interview and 2 hours to complete the report. For my agency, the FBA is multiple step process that might include some or all of the following, which is records review, which include the medical records, parents and staff interviews, clients observation, and complete the rating scale such as narrative and baseline through the direct observation, and the clients in the problem activity setting and what kind of age milestone are they currently at, and the functional analysis. So for the narrative part, the baseline of the client's current status. What can they do? Can they do the one-step instruction? What's their expressive skill? How's their socialization? And can they play by themselves? Can they functionally play by themselves? As I mentioned, all my clients are from birth to age 3. And this is an intake VP map that for one of my current client, and he came in pretty late referral, 34-month-old. He will age out from my agency within 2 months because, as I mentioned, this program is only from birth to age 3. This is one of the data sheet I use for my client. We collect paper data, and we use least to most prompting hierarchy. And currently, our one-step instructions very specific. For example, when it comes to one step, we specific say put in as cleanup, that one-step instruction. Sit down as one of the specific one-step instruction we want him to work on. And this is a graph. We use a Google spreadsheet to graph, and this is what it looks like when we collect our data and try to graph them to present for the BCBA, and to see like how often does my client respond to his name compared from the beginning of the treatment and to now. Conclusion. What would I like to learn more about? I would like to learn more about how to make sure everyone will follow through the behavior intervention plan after the FBA. Sometimes it is difficult to ask parents or the general education teacher to start participating in a behavior intervention plan unless they have seen improvement of the clients after the behavior intervention plan started. However, if only the BT or paraprofessional are the only people who's working on the treatment plan, how can we make sure the treatment plan is effective? For example, if the BCBA is asking the behavior technician to use positive reinforcement, however, the behavior technician does not practice with that, and it's a group home setting, how can we guarantee this is going to be effective? And what to do to change the situation? How do the assessment conduct in my field experience placement compared to what I have learned in my coursework? My field experience has more specific detail for the FBA experience, and also the behavior often have more variable to trigger the behavior. The coursework itself for the FBA part is mainly focused on the observation and parents interview, and the parents interview often have bias and observation have very limited time and environment. My question for my classmate for the upcoming discussion is, what would you do if you observe the parent actually are the reason to trigger the behavior during the FBA assessment? For example, the parents will place place demands repeatedly when the child is whining. And at this moment, you're not sure how receptive the parents are, and you're still trying to build a rapport with them. Will you tell them at the moment during the FBA or after the FBA? Or when would you tell them? Please let me know. The reference of the presentation are listed below, and thank you all for your time.